Hey guys, so I'm super excited about this call. I really wanted to record it because it is so good and I know that you're going to benefit so much from it. So this whole mindset call that I have for you is all about your period, your cycle, your menstrual cycle, and why it is so valuable to understand exactly what your body goes throughout the whole month, not just the week of your period, but also the weeks before and the weeks prior. So, or prior and before, whatever it is. So I'm really excited about this, and I'm excited for you guys to benefit from learning more about your period and about your cycle. So I'm going to share my screen really quickly. Let's go here, share. Okay, I'm going to go over here. Okay, let me present it. Okay, so your menstrual cycle, how to optimize every week on your cycle. Again, it's so important. I can't wait for you guys to benefit from this. So, we're going to be talking about weight gain and food sources. Now, typically, most period cycles last around 28 days. It could be a little bit more, it could be a little bit less, but roughly the average for most women is about 28 days. I know for me, that's exactly what it is actually. So, but to understand, so we're just going to go off of 28 days, but hormone levels fluctuate so much when you are on your menstrual cycle. So these changes can affect not only your appetite, but it also can lead to fluid retention. And both of these factors will probably, you'll probably have more, you'll perceive that you are actually gaining weight instead of, maybe just holding on to water retention. So, weight gain during period, what makes you feel like you're gaining weight? Such a good question. A lot of these symptoms, most women have these symptoms, they will experience or may experience leading up to their period that makes you feel like that. Food cravings, increased hunger, water retention, and swelling are premenstrual symptoms that may make a person feel like they're gaining weight. So think about it. What symptoms do you get before your period, and write it down. Once you understand, okay, I'm kind of really craving food right now. Why is that? Because typically, and I'll go through this, typically within those first 2 weeks, you aren't as cravey as the last 2 weeks of the month. And let's talk about it. So for our clients, I'm going to mention a few ways that we go, talk about and go through the cycles. And number one is we use data. Data is so important and is often underestimated, truly. When you watch the data and you watch your trends over time, it is phenomenal how much that helps just your mental health when it comes to stepping on the scale. So for our clients, we use data and we watch trends over time. I'm saying every single day they'll hop on a scale. Why? Have you ever, through the month, you hop on a scale once and then maybe a month later you hop on a scale another time, and you just, you could weigh 5 extra pounds, you could weigh 5 pounds lighter. And sometimes it makes you really happy. Sometimes you're like, what's going on? Now that we never have that with our clients. Every single day they hop on a scale because it gives us actual knowledge of what's going on with their weight and with their menstrual cycles, and if they are spiking or if they are pretty consistent. Because I've had both. I've had females who gain 9 pounds on their period and females who just stay the same. So you never know, but it's important to know you and your cycle. That way you do know what to expect when you are moving into your cycle or during ovulation. Another thing too is, as a coach, if somebody's saying, hey, Sydney, I'm struggling. I feel like I have a really big appetite, and I just feel like I'm not in a position mentally to make good choices, really. Like, it could be you're really just struggling. Then I will go in and adjust your macro targets. So leading into your cycle, you actually you'll work with it versus feeling restricted, guilty, or resistant. So it is important to understand what you're thinking, what your body is feeling, and why. Lastly, changes in appetite tend to occur at distinct stages of the menstrual cycle called the follicular phase and the luteal phase. My little thing popped up. So let's get into that. What do each of them mean? 4 phases. We have obviously your menstrual cycle, the follicular phase, ovulation, and the luteal phase. Now, the follicular phase, guys, that is a good feeling. That is a good time. We enjoy the follicular phase. Those 2 weeks, you're feeling good. Half the month, have you ever noticed half the month you feel amazing, and then the other half you're like just like dragging on? You're just like, oh, like I'm so not in it, right? I'll tell you why. There's a reason for that. So in your follicular phase, estrogen, your estrogen hormone, that feel good hormone, it rises and you are happy, you're energetic, you are just go, go, go. You want to eat better, you want to work out harder. There's so much. You're just like ready. Okay. Another thing too is your metabolism actually goes down. And so your appetite goes down. See, what it's called is BMR. It stands for your basal metabolic rate. Now, what this means is your BMR is the amount of calories that you burn at rest. So that literally means when you are like doing nothing, like laying down, like sleeping, like the basic, like you're resting. Okay. That is how many calories that your body is burning at rest. And what happens is when your metabolic rate goes down, your appetite also goes down. And so you're not as hungry, you're not as craving. You can typically hit your goals if you are following a plan. You can hit them really well because you're just like, your estrogen has gone up. You feel good. You have more energy. That is typically in the first phase, your follicular phase. This comes from day 1 to day 14. It occurs when your ovary releases an egg. So like I said, your estrogen increasing, your progesterone and body temperature stays the same. So you're not like having any weird spikes. This is when we are primed to hit intense workouts. Okay. So that's when you're like ready to freaking go do a hit workout. Like, have you ever been at the gym and been like, oh my gosh, I am like gonna go run 4 miles. I'm gonna go, do a crazy hit. I'm gonna go do bodybuilding over here. I'm gonna do this and that. Like, and you just want to go. That's typically within the first 2 weeks. And if you know that, you can use that to your advantage. So it also we have increased insulin, increased pain tolerance. You can push the limits. It's also a good time to adjust your carb intake slightly up during your follicular phase. Because your workouts will require them. So when you are during that time, it is the better time of the month to maybe overeat on your calorie goals. Not saying that you should, but it would be better to do it then than in your next phase, which I will get into that here soon. Again, though, it's just important to understand this. I'm sure you felt it as well, where you just really do feel good throughout those 2 phases. And then ovulation happens. Okay. Ovulation occurs around day 14. Your estrogen has peaked and it is beginning to decline while progesterone surges. And let's talk about it. Your luteal phase. Progesterone, there we go, increases and moods are a bit unstable. Nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with that at all. It's what your body is supposed to do. But that's also typically when your weight might be climbing a bit. And if you know it, it's really, really beneficial. It's really beneficial because you understand why your weight might be climbing and it's not something that you stress out about. The best thing to do is stay really consistent because it's okay. It's okay if your weight's climbing. What's not okay is if all of a sudden you say, oh, I'm not going to eat anymore. Or, you might say, oh, I'm just going to have whatever I want now. I'm just over it. It's so much more beneficial if you can stay to a program. So that's typically when your appetite starts to rise, appetite starts to rise, and you are wanting more of the processed carbs, the carbs that are definitely around craving foods, right? So this is your luteal phase. This begins typically on, day 14, the minute you start to ovulate. This is that phase. Again, during this phase, your body isn't primed to work out. It doesn't want to work out really high intensities. Strength training and kind of cardio is the best, but definitely, I'm sure you felt this where you're like, I just don't want to work out. I don't have motivation. I feel like really tired. You don't really know why. This is why you're in that luteal phase. I was just in mine, and man, I felt it. Okay. You also might retain more water at this time due to PMS symptoms. Your cravings, like I said, once progesterone increases, it can cause a slight decrease in the serotonin. So that means, oh, sorry, my husband's calling me. So that means that you can boost your serotonin. You're wanting to boost your serotonin, which is that food craving. And in order to do that, you are like really craving that food because you don't have it from your estrogen anymore. It's from a different hormone. And so that is why you're like wanting the extra food. You're wanting that processed food. Now, if you can recognize that, it's going to be a lot easier to understand that you're craving it and it's not something that you necessarily need. So remember that. So that is your luteal phase. Ovulation, I already kind of talked about it. I'm going to go over a structure though for when you are in your luteal phase. First of all, you got to know the math. In order to gain 1 pound of fat while you are on this phase, is you have to be eating additional 3,500 calories, which is a lot. Okay. So for example, if your maintenance is somewhere around 1,600, if you don't know it, that's okay. Maintenance, what it means is the amount of calories you can eat to maintain the weight that you're at. So you're not going to gain weight, you're not going to lose weight. It's just you're maintaining it. Okay. So if your maintenance is 1,600, then you would have to eat an additional 3,500 calories to gain 1 pound of fat. That's insane. You would have to like intentionally eat 5,000 calories a day. Okay. And most of the time we don't do that. But it is important to be okay if you are, craving those certain types of food, the cookie dough, the chocolate chips, the ice cream, the donuts, all of the things. It's okay. Just be aware of how much you're having. And we all get in those moods where we kind of snack, and sometimes snacking, there's 500 calories. And if you do that every single day for 7 weeks, and yeah, it's going to add up. Be aware and know how much you're having is really what I want to say about that. The next thing is another big thing that plays a part into just how you feel during the luteal phase is water retention and swelling. So you probably have experienced increased water retention and salt retention as well. So when you do feel that, up your water intake. I'm meaning like by 50 to 100 ounces, and try to decrease your salt intake as well. This is due to the increased progesterone hormone. So, what it does is it does activate a hormone, and this causes your kidney to retain water and salt. Water retention can also lead to bloating, swelling, particularly in the abdomen, the arms, and the legs. Another thing too is it will also give you that appearance of weight gain. You might feel that your clothes are a bit tighter. And that's okay. That's totally okay. That's really, it happens in all of these phases. Okay. However, water retention does not equate to fat gain. I mean, that's huge. You've just got to look at your trends and you know where it's going to store when you are in that phase. Is it going to go to your belly? Is it going to go to your legs? Is it going to go to your arms? Okay. And you can tell, like I said, if you use a finger and just push into your skin, you can literally feel and see that it is bloated. So Know that it's a normal thing. It's also important to use different measurements instead of the scale. This is a time to take pictures. Take pictures and see, and I guarantee you're going to notice that it's you look totally the same. So just because the scale weight went up does not mean anything. Okay. Watch your trends from month to month. And again, you'll reap the benefits of staying with your plan. Could not stress that enough, especially during your luteal phase. If you can stay the course and really stick with it, it's going to bless your life so much and you will see the results so much quicker. You'll reap those benefits. I know it 100%. So, a few symptoms that are normal that I want to go over: depression, anxiety, angry outbursts. This is huge. Irritability, especially you might feel when you with a certain loved one, if you're married, dating, even family, you have those angry outbursts, you just like want to pull their hair out, whatever it is. That's huge. That's okay. Confusion, crying spells, I know I get those a lot. Randomly it could be, I could be talking to my husband about anything, but like really feel emotions. In fact, the other day I was at church. I was with my husband sitting next to me, and he started asking me a question about something that kind of made me mad, but I noticed how like emotional I was getting. And immediately it reminded me that I had to take out my birth control. I'm on something that's called a NuvaRing, which I actually highly recommend it as birth control. It's been really good for me. But anyway, you put it in, you leave it in for 3 weeks and take it out for one. But I immediately was like, oh my gosh, I can feel this crying spell come on. I need to take mine out. And it was like very obvious. Okay. Another thing is like social withdrawal. When I am on my, let's see, my luteal phase, that is typically when I feel the need to kind of back away. I don't really want to be in social gatherings. I just kind of need my alone time. I need my space. And then when I'm in my follicular phase, that's the time where I'm like, let's do it. Let's go. I'm ready. Let's have fun. Okay. Insomnia. This is a big one. A lot of the times people think that they are tired because they haven't eaten very much. And you also need to put in consideration that you could have a really bad sleeping schedule. So remember that you might just need more sleep. It's okay. Lastly is taking more naps and changes in sexual desire. That's a big one. You might want it more, you might want it less. It really just depends on yourself, but know what that is. A few additional that I want to go over quickly is thirst and appetite. Like I said, this is a good time to up your intake with water. Breast tenderness, bloating, headaches, swelling of the hands and feet, all those types of symptoms. They will vary though from person to person. How long does it last? Your PMS symptoms. So typically in premenstrual symptoms tend to start a few days before bleeding, and they stop once your menstruation occurs. So it really just depends on a person's pattern. I would really recommend to like write them down and figure out what your body is feeling. If you are having headaches, if you are feeling a bit more bloating, tenderness. I know I get breast tenderness a lot every single time, without a doubt. I can tell. Really just understand what your symptoms are and how it interferes with your body, with your health, with how you feel, all of that. Magnesium as a supplement is really helpful, helps alleviate bloating, breast tenderness, and mood disturbances. So if you feel like you just want something to kind of calm you down at night or to lower your cortisol levels, magnesium is super helpful. A supplement that I recommend is Just Ingredients, her magnesium, phenomenal, really clean ingredients that I also take her pre-workout, her protein shake or protein as well, and really, really love her stuff. So check it out. Magnesium is super helpful to lower those stress levels. Okay. The next is how to train with your menstrual cycle. Because who has gone to the gym ever and been like, I am not feeling it? I have so many times, right? You go in and you're like, wow, first of all, I couldn't lift anything. I felt so weak. And second of all, I just was just not there. That is huge, guys. You may have noticed that your body does behave differently when it comes to your time of month. Every stage is different, but typically you have, in your luteal, oh, I mix the two, luteal phase, that's when you probably don't feel the best. Now, in your follicular phase, that's when you feel really energetic and you're ready to go and do everything. So remember, it's important to take advantage of those changes and to, first of all, if you are feeling a bit, less energized, then it's okay. Then do a different workout, but stick with your nutrition. Take advantage of that and know that your body's going to change and it's okay. So the benefits of knowing training with your menstrual cycle can make it easier to stick with a training plan. So if you don't follow a training program, please do. It makes it so much easier. Number two, it improves performance, and also know when is the best time to use carbs and fats as fuel. So like I said, carbs is that first 2 weeks of follicular phase. The first 2 weeks is really important to use carbs as fuel. You can have a few extra. It's totally going to be fine. The next 2 weeks is when your carbs really matter. Instead of eating more processed carbs that you might be craving during that luteal phase, try to eat real starched carbs, greens, some whole foods, some, low calorie carbs, so that you are fueling yourself correctly and not just doing all the things that you might regret later. Okay. Okay. We've already kind of talked about. Okay. So recap. I know this was a lot, you guys. I just want to talk about knowing that during your follicular phase, that is when your estrogen rises, you feel better, you have just all that really changes the way that you show up for the week. But when your progesterone, that also can mildly change and influence the way that you feel as well. So what happens is during the first 2 weeks, your estrogen raises and you feel awesome. During the next 2 weeks, it decreases a lot and your progesterone raises. And that's why you are feeling all those emotions and mood changes and everything. So that is really what I wanted to talk about today. I do have a cravings PDF and I really want you guys to have it. So comment if you're on YouTube, comment if you're on my live, comment. But I want you to have it. So let me know if you would like it. And I hope this was helpful. I know for myself, it really was, just knowing the difference of each week and how to really optimize that, how to really optimize what my body was doing. So comment below if you thought this was helpful, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.